At an upscale bank in the heart of downtown Chicago, a black man steps forward to the counter for what should be a simple, everyday transaction, a routine withdrawal. But before he can even say a word, the teller barely spares him a glance, her expression unreadable yet dismissive. She doesn't bother with a polite greeting, doesn't acknowledge him as a valued customer. Instead, she pushes his ID aside without a second look, her tone sharp, almost irritated. Seconds tick by. Then, without warning, security is summoned. Within moments, he's being yanked away, dragged toward the exit as though he were a criminal, as though he had done something wrong, when all he had done was try to withdraw his own money. Meanwhile, just feet away, white customers stroll out effortlessly, clutching stacks of cash, their transactions completed without so much as a raised eyebrow. No questions. No scrutiny. No problem. What the bank doesn't realize, what they haven't even begun to suspect, is that they've just made a mistake of monumental proportions. Because the man they just humiliated, the man they just tossed out like a nobody, he isn't just any customer. He is the one who built this institution from nothing, the one who holds the real power here. And when the truth comes out, they will learn, they will learn exactly who they just dared to cross. 9 a.m. The moment it all began. Marcus Bennett strode through the front entrance of the Bennett Financial Branch, the bank that bore his name, at precisely 9 a.m. The glass doors parted soundlessly before him, letting the crisp Chicago morning air swirl in behind him. Sunlight spilled through the towering floor-to-ceiling windows, throwing golden reflections across the gleaming tile floors. The air buzzed with quiet efficiency, the subtle hum of business in motion. Employees in tailored suits moved with purpose behind the counters, their hands deftly sorting documents, their voices polite and practiced as they handled customer transactions. Clients stood in neat, orderly rows, waiting for their turn. The soft chime of the service bell rang out at regular intervals, a rhythmic reminder of the bank's well-oiled operation. Everything ran smoothly,
just the way Marcus had designed it.
But today, Marcus was not here as the CEO. No meetings. No press conferences. No high-stakes financial negotiations. Just a simple withdrawal, $15,000 from his personal account. Nothing unusual, nothing out of the ordinary. Any customer should have been able to complete this transaction without issue. He wasn't dressed to impress. No custom-fitted suit, no gleaming designer watch. Just a neatly pressed light blue button-down shirt, khaki pants, and a pair of fresh, clean sneakers. He blended effortlessly into the crowd, just another face in the sea of morning transactions. And yet, despite his unassuming presence, his sharp eyes noticed everything. At the counter ahead of him, a middle-aged white man in a charcoal gray blazer was being attended to. The teller smiled warmly as she counted out the money, her fingers moving with ease, stacking neat bundles of cash before sliding them across the counter. No hesitation. No second-guessing. No questioning. Marcus caught a quick glimpse of the transaction slip as the man turned. $20,000. The customer pocketed the cash, gave a polite nod of thanks, and strolled toward the exit. No issue. No delay. No suspicion. Marcus exhaled slowly, his jaw tightening for the briefest moment before he forced himself to relax. He had seen this before, felt it before. But today, he was determined to ensure that his own institution, the empire he had built from nothing, was not harboring the same quiet, insidious prejudice that had been embedded in so many places before it. The teller, a silent judgment. With a neutral expression, he stepped forward, joining the next available line. Within moments, he was standing in front of a blonde woman in a stiffly pressed navy blue blazer. Her nameplate read Amy Carter. Unlike the previous interaction he had just witnessed, Amy offered no polite smile, no warm greeting. In fact, she barely even looked at him. Without a word, she reached beneath the counter, pulled out a clipboard, and slid it toward him with an air of indifference. "Fill this out," she said flatly, her voice devoid of warmth, her tone mechanical, detached. No small talk. No courtesies. Just an order. Marcus studied her face for a second, his sharp gaze searching for any sign of something deeper, conscious or unconscious bias, intentional or ingrained. Then, without a word, he lowered his gaze to the form in front of him. A standard withdrawal slip.
Fine.
No issue. Procedures were procedures. He retrieved a pen from his pocket, quickly and efficiently filling in the necessary details before sliding the clipboard back across the counter, his driver's license resting on top. Amy took the slip, but she didn't even look at the ID. Instead, the moment her eyes flicked to the amount, $15,000, her entire demeanor shifted. She barely hesitated before shoving the form right back at him, her arms crossing over her chest. "We can't process this," she said curtly, her voice sharp, her posture stiff. Marcus frowned slightly, his fingertips brushing over the rejected slip. "Excuse me?" His voice was calm, measured. Amy didn't so much as blink. "We don't handle large cash withdrawals like this." His brow furrowed. "I just watched that man walk out with $20,000 in cash." He gestured subtly toward the exit, where the previous customer was now stepping onto the bustling city sidewalk, his pockets heavier, his business concluded without interference. "You didn't hesitate with him." Amy's lips pressed into a thin, unmoving line. "That's different." Marcus leaned in just slightly, his voice still steady, but unmistakably firm. "How exactly?" For the first time, Amy averted her gaze, not out of discomfort, but out of something colder. Irritation. Instead of answering, her eyes flicked toward the back of the bank, toward the glass-walled office where Victoria Sanders, the branch manager, stood watching, arms crossed, observing. And in that moment, Marcus knew. Victoria Sanders, a woman in her mid-40s, clad in an impeccably tailored suit, carrying the unmistakable air of someone who had already made up her mind long before she would even pretend to consider the facts. The moment their eyes met, she gave a small nod, almost imperceptible. But Marcus saw it. Amy straightened, confidence restored, emboldened by the silent approval of her superior. When she turned back to Marcus, her expression had shifted, colder now, sharper. She sighed, exasperated, as if she were already exhausted by this interaction. "I told you," she said, tapping the slip of paper between them. "We can't process this transaction." Marcus inhaled slowly, methodically keeping his patience in check. "And I'm asking you why." Amy hesitated. She tapped her manicured nails against the counter, the rhythmic sound deliberate, stalling. Then finally she sighed. Tilting her head, her voice softened, coated in artificial sweetness. "It's just unusual," she said. "A cash withdrawal this large, it's suspicious." The word hung between them. Suspicious. Marcus felt it settle in his chest, heavy and unspoken, the same way it always did when people like Amy cloaked their real meaning in polite, palatable words. He knew this game, and he was done playing it.